video series is all about extraordinary people inspiring change, which is our purpose. And we want to create a future that works with equality and diversity by building businesses powered essentially by people. So the first question that I ask everyone in this interview is, if you were in charge of the whole world and you wanted to inspire change, what 3 people would you have alongside you? They can be famous, they can be non-famous, they can be alive or dead. Just go for it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so I think the first person that I would probably like to have alongside me is Sir Thomas More.
Okay.
He's somebody that's always intrigued me. I think the man for all seasons. I think in the time which we live at the moment, I think this was somebody who had a clear moral compass and a clear map around which to navigate that, clear principles. Yeah. And I think with the amount of fake news, disinformation, and general skepticism that might be out there, I think somebody with that moral compass to be able to guide and shape, I think would be great. And clearly, you also wrote Utopia, which is a great place to start with. See what the new world might look like.
Wow, it's looking likely. Okay, so that'd be your first person.
Yeah. The second person. Ooh, I don't want to be too deep about this, but I'd probably go for somebody like Socrates, actually.
Okay.
And it's building off the theme of Utopia, which obviously Thomas More talked about, and the ideas that the need for a philosophical base around which leadership or the world is changed. And philosophical is an overused word. It's the ethical and moral principles around which to look at the world. So those would probably be my first 2 serious ones, and then to balance it, I do like my comedy, so I'd probably want to have one of my favourite comedians with me, just for a laugh. So Catherine Ahern, or someone like Amanda Iannucci or Chris Morris.
Okay, that's good. Good balance. Do you think they'd all get on well as a team, or?
I think actually Socrates and Sir Thomas More would probably actually clash a little bit on principle, but I think that'd be a creative tension, and I think they'd probably join forces against somebody like Iannucci or Morris, because he'd be taken, or the comedian would be likely parodying them all the time.
Okay, so you've gone with the moral compass there, which I think is obviously very important, something we might lack a little bit in this world in a minute. But if we were to sort of kind of go deeper into that, so you've changed the world with this very interesting team. So now you personally are in charge of changing your specific industry. So what would be the one thing that you would like to change, you think needs to change about your industry?
Okay, the word cyber. I really don't like it.
Okay.
So I've been working in what we now call cyber for the best part of 20 years, and it's gone through various evolutions. And cyber now, it's got currency. It's a word that people understand, or at least they understand some of the ideas around it, but it's still very vague, and it doesn't really mean much as a word, cyber. So I think actually it spreads a level of confusion around, how can you secure cyber? You can secure information, you can secure a building, you can secure people. How can you secure cyber? Cyber security is a bit of an oxymoron. So I think, and it covers such a broad church. It's like the Eskimos have 20 words for snow. When we actually know what we're talking about when we use the word cyber, is it privacy? Is it is it social elements? Is it physical elements? Is it networks? When we're a bit more specific in our language, I think it'll mean more. So that's the one thing that I think we should change.
Do you have a word in mind that you would change it to, or?
I don't, I'm afraid. I think there's so many. Cyber's just got a life of its own now. I think that there's so many different elements of it. We need to be specific about each of those elements.
Maybe your dream team would come up with a word for it.
I don't think there'd be one. I think there'd be quite a few.
It'd be 20, like the Eskimos.
Exactly.
So obviously the industry does change all the time, and in particular this year we've seen such a huge change in the way that the whole world is working and reacting to things that are happening. Do you think that COVID could lead to positive changes in cyber in
positive changes? Well, I think it's definitely going to lead to changes.
Yeah.
I think we're already seeing this sort of, firstly in terms of the technical world, there'll be a continuation of digitization, people moving to cloud, being resilient in that aspect. Secondly, in terms of the, people, the socio-technical component of cyber, more remote working, people being away. I think that there are strengths and weaknesses to that concept, if you like. There's a larger surface area to attack. People like working from home. I can't imagine it going back to what it was like before.
I know. Do you enjoy working from home, or?
Yeah, I love working from home. I'm really grateful for the upsides I've had during lockdown, just to be close to the family.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it definitely brings out some positive sides, and I think it also makes you realize what is important and what isn't, and the things we stress about that don't really actually need to be stressed about, but hopefully it can lead to some positive changes. It definitely has in the world. We might not see them yet. I think maybe it's a bit too soon to actually see the positive from it, but hopefully we can get to that point. But obviously it's changed so much since you probably started out in the industry, so I guess there's a lot of things that you would like to say to your younger self. What would be one of them? You could say to your younger self starting off in your career, what would you actually say? I
wouldn't say that much different, actually. I think I'd just encourage. Yeah, I'd encourage anybody, myself or other people, just enjoy your career. Just try to be the best you can. Enjoy it. Go with your heart. Don't be a careerist. Actually, just focus on what you love.
Yeah.
Be at peace. When you love something, you need to have that sort of quiet moment to really love something. And then when you're there, just enjoy it and do the best you can.
Do you feel like you have always thought that throughout your career, or is that something you look back now and think that you wish you would have thought about throughout the whole of it?
Yeah, I don't think I've always thought that way. I don't, though, look back and think that I should have behaved like that. I think I think actually part of the fun in my career is actually just learning about myself.
Yeah.
Actually, the journey's actually been, which I'm still on, has been part of the benefit, actually. Learning about myself and what I like. As I say, I think just enjoying what you're doing and being really good at trying to be the best you can at just what you're doing. I think it brings a lot of reward.
Good. And do you think you'd still go down this path knowing what you know now?
In terms of the career that I'm in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that the world of cyber, as much as I hate the world, it's it's a really fantastic, interesting place to be in. I got into it from the world of physical and electronic security, if you like. I was in the Foreign Office, and people used to keep all of their secret documents in safes, so we need to make those secure. Those spin safes, Mark IV safes. Now they're all on computers and on hard drives. So, look, I think it's a really fascinating area. It's going to continue to evolve. It's going to be even more important going forward. Yeah, I love my profession.
Good. And do you think there was a defining moment in your career where you thought this is the moment of change for you, or the moment that everything you've sort of done in the past feels worth it?
Yeah, no. I think the key thing for me is the one that I alluded to earlier. There was a moment of realization where looking to protect documents in those Mark IV safes, the types of safes you see on old films where they stashed the bullion.
Yeah.
It was a realization that actually that bullion or those documents were no longer going to be in safes anymore. They were going to be in hard drives. They were going to be in networks. And I think that moment it suddenly dawned on me. We weren't even using the word cyber. That actually that was probably the direction of travel for the future.
Wow.
That was probably my biggest defining moment.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, you don't even know what that is, and you're completely switching up the way you work, and you're like, is this even going to work? Because at that point you might not have known. So I can imagine that was a completely interesting moment. And who, obviously this is all around inspiring change and extraordinary people, and who throughout your career was that person to have inspired change in your life? Was it one person? Was it a collective group of people?
Yeah, I can't sort of point at one person alone. I mean, there's key people in my life, and probably those closest to me, actually.
Okay.
So as a big stop, yes, my mum actually has probably been the most inspiring person. Who brought myself and my sisters up we went in fairly difficult circumstances, and how hard she worked, and the sacrifices that she put herself through, actually for myself and my siblings. Yeah, that's something I could never walk away from. So it's been something that's been inspiring me. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting actually, because everybody I've spoken to has said their mum.
Really?
Yeah, everyone, and I think I would say mine as well. So yeah, it's really interesting how that woman in your early life sort of shapes so much. But no, that's really nice.